Okay, so this is story number 4. This will be our last one about stories of people in our congregation and how God has moved in their workplace. And I'll give you a spoiler alert. This one involves Mel and I, and so I'm not going to try to do what we did with the other videos to tell you who this is about and who it's not altogether. But when we first moved to Perth, and we rented a house in Duncraig, um, part of the thing that was included with our rent was that our lawn care was taken care of, and it didn't have a lot of lawn to be mowed. It was mostly sand. There wasn't a lot of grass, and so um, we were cool with it. It was included, and that's fine. And so what we soon found out is that the guy never came. We lived there for I think 3 or 4 months before he came. But when he did come, we got a chance to talk to him. And he ended up being from the States. He had lived here in Perth for now like 20, 30 years. And he used to play basketball back in the States. And so we got to talking about that. And he was from Detroit, and I'd lived near there. And yeah, we got to chatting a little bit. And then he was supposed to come every 2 weeks. We didn't know that he was supposed to come every 2 weeks, and but he did. He came back, the following month, and we talked again a little bit. And quite some time after that, there was another gap of time that he was supposed to come, but he didn't, and we were fine. There wasn't anything to mow; it was just dust, most of it. And I saw him. I saw him out in front of the old building that we were at, mowing that verge space, and I went up to speak with him, and that Saturday, we were having a meeting with some of the guys, and we were focusing on how to encourage young men. And I knew that he had his son, and so I talked with him just briefly about it and said, look, if you're interested, come to this. This is going to be really good. You and your son can come. We're going to have some breakfast, and it'll be great. And he was not interested at all. He was most of the time wasn't interested in talking about anything religious. And he was polite, but he just said, no, I'm good. And that was that. And it was a short time after that. It was probably 3 months. I think it was about 3 months after that. I was at Dome, and I was having a Bible study with a guy named Ron. And my phone rang, and it was Roland, who was the guy who mowed our grass infrequently. And he said, hey, I got a favor to ask you. And I was like, okay. And he said, I've got a guy that used to work with me, who he just needs somebody to talk to, and he needs some help, and I think you guys could help. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And so, interesting at the time, we learned this later, but I don't know how he got this guy's number. Later on in our story, we heard that this person had changed their number several times, but Roland got it. And so I called this guy, and we started talking, and we found some similar interest, and so we met up and had some conversations, and over time it was pretty clear to me that God had moved. I'm very leery at times to say and point my finger on God's providence. But I believe this is one of those moments. I don't have a lot of those in my life, but I believe this was one. And so we started talking, and this guy had gone through a very rough time, a really rough time, and he needed people. And the beauty about that is that he got people. He got people, including Mel and I, but he got people like Rob Lee. He got people like Mark Carlton. He got people like Eddie and Melaine Legg, and many, many other people. People like Paul, and a whole bunch of people had started to encourage him. And one of the beauties about this story is that as we began to hang out, is about the time, it was very soon after that Rob and Sharon and the boys, and Mark and Jackie and their family had started to meet with us. And I know Rob and Mark had shared the gospel with probably thousands of people. And I just learned that, and we talked, and I said, look, man, I'd love for you guys to study with him. And Rob was keen, and he was talking to me about different things with that, and in specific with this guy. And that meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me that they would take the time to do that, and they did. And so over a period, a period of time they were spending time with this guy, and we were, and I'm not trying in this story to highlight anybody. I'm trying to highlight God, and that there was a group of people who were willing, and then there was a person who needed it. There was a group of people who were actually praying for situations like that intently, and God moved. God used a guy who was in his workplace that just talked to this random redneck and used it. And then other people who had come who were trying to participate together started to use them as well. This guy was immersed into Jesus a while ago and has grown into just an amazing, amazing man and a very close friend of mine. And I'm thankful for his friendship. I'm thankful for his faith. I'm thankful for being a brother in Christ to his, but it's been a blessing to me personally in my life. And this story is about Rob O'Neill. And if you don't know Rob, you should. And you should take time to get to know him. He's one of the most caring and generous and heartfelt people that I know, and I'm blessed to know, and God has changed his life. Rob worked with Roland, and Rob actually mowed our grass a couple times, or what was there to mow. And he remembers, because after he came to my house, he said, I came here with Roland. That's amazing, man. I got chill bumps now telling the story, and Rob and I have shared this story over and over and over with each other and with other people. And he and I are convinced that it was God allowing for an opportunity for us to grow, for us to be encouraged by him, and for Rob to understand Jesus and understand what God wanted for him to be saved. And I'm thankful for it. So that's the story of Rob O'Neill and God being in his workspace. A little bit different than the others, but I hope it encourages you. This will be the last of our messages. I'd love to hear more. If you have more stories like this where God has worked in your workplace, or challenging stories, share those with people. Talk with somebody about it. You never know who it's going to encourage or who it's going to build up, who might need to hear it. But thank you for hearing these, and God bless you guys. I love you to bits, and hope you have just a great, great day. See you.